Hello, my name is Brandon Yared, and I'm creating this video today to talk to you about a hypothesis I've created regarding the spending habits of cost center managers at the community college level. To give you a little bit of background on my interest in this subject, I have been a member of the Howard Community College staff for almost 15 years since joining the college in 2004. And in that time, I've worked my way up from work-study positions all the way through my department to the director level. I am now the Director of Audiovisual Services and Design for Howard Community College. As such, that makes me a cost center manager, and it gives me a personal stake in this particular topic. So the premise to my hypothesis is based on the idea that in my experience and in the experience of colleagues with whom I've conferred, cost center managers spend their budget very disproportionately towards the end of the fiscal year. Sometimes 30-40% of their budget they're spending in the last 15% of their fiscal year. And I was wondering why. So I started doing a little bit of background research, and I realized that we're in a risk-averse society. I also found out that there are differences in the responsibilities and expectations of cost center managers in America and abroad. So this led me to my hypothesis. My hypothesis is, if cost center managers are granted access to statistical information about their spending patterns, as well as access to budget projection training, then spending will be more proportionally distributed across the fiscal year. So let's talk about some basic support for my hypothesis. The Journal of Business did a comparison between cost center managers in Germany and America, and it showed that there were several distinct differences in the expectations and responsibilities placed upon cost center managers. For example, American cost center managers are held personally liable if their budgets exceed their allotment. In Germany and in other European institutions, cost center managers are only responsible to demonstrate that they have been fiscally responsible and adhered to the patterns of spending that the company has required. Another difference is that in American social institutions, we tend to work on what's called the zero-based budget. Zero-based budget means that if I have any money left at the end of the year, my budget is reduced next year. In several German and European models, this isn't the case. Cost savings are rewarded, and because cost savings from year to year may change, it's understood if I've saved money the last 2 years that this year I might run over in my budget. So there's a big cultural difference in that perception. What this means is that many European cost center managers are held accountable for their method of operation, not for the outcome, where many cost center managers in America are not held responsible for their methodology, but exclusively held responsible for their outcome. There's a subsequent result from this dichotomy. American cost center managers, with whom I've had the opportunity to confer, have rarely, if ever, received budget projection training. I'm going to take myself as an example. I came up as an audiovisual technician. That's working with schematics, installation, hand tools, wiring, digital and analog systems, etc. Because I excelled in that, I advanced within my department. And because I advanced within my department continually, eventually I gained leadership roles. Because of my study of psychology and other leadership experiences in martial arts, I was well prepared for the leadership responsibilities. The greatest challenge I had was budget management and projection, which ironically is the area where I received the very least amount of training. So an article that I found in the Journal of Public Accounting and Finance talked about the importance of proper budget projection, how critical budget projection is and how there are technical steps. And I was astounded because there was a lot of the accounting that I was completely unfamiliar with. It's informed me that personally I'm going to do some more research on budget projection and more effective ways of doing that. However, I've been able to reflect that in a risk-averse society where cost center managers are held personally liable for going over their budgets and we have very little record of our spending patterns over time, I believe that if we were to set up an experiment where cost center managers randomly assigned to control or experiment groups, treatment groups, if the treatment group was to receive training and was also to be able to receive and review data on their spending patterns over the past several years, that there would be a significant redistribution effect in their spending patterns throughout the year. Instead of being nervous in the first half to 3/4 of the year of overspending their resources, they would be able to more appropriately allocate funds for the first, second, and third quarter, knowing that in years past and likely in years future, they're not going to run over their budget based on projections. This would be ethical so long as institutional practices and private information was maintained, standard IRB processes and randomization. But within the boundaries of that, the only possible outcomes would be stagnation or improvement. So I believe that overall this would be a very worthwhile experiment if we were ever able to test it. Thank you so very much for your time, and I hope you have a great day.